We have an employee, which we tested it at, and it's still up and working, who is at the farthest reaches where we'll sell it. And it works perfectly. You know, he's our test case. He's been on it since September, October-ish, and has not had one issue with it. We're not gonna put it up, I mean, why would you do that? Put it up where it's not gonna work.
So the only thing I would add to that is what the major difference that you're gonna find is how long or how far we can get the product to reach. So the constraint is that we're not gonna necessarily be able to cover everywhere based on loop length. So wherever our closest central office is or remote is that we have the equipment, there is a distance limit for how good we can send the picture quality. With fiber, it would allow us to do it at a greater distance and cover more area. But the restriction is going to be the distance, and so therefore you're still going to see the same picture quality, the same everything as far as the features work, because we're limiting how far we can make it go. And that's where the biggest difference is with regards to copper or fiber.
Most of our service is underground, with the exception of 94 to a week. Oh, yeah, on Lincoln Street is a Does anything have to be, we work with that, new lines being run?
No. So, and that goes to Claudia's point, with how we ran this out, is all of the changes were in the back office with the electronics. So because of that, there are no bills, whether you're talking underground or area, either or, there's no change that's necessary. The only time that you would run into a situation like that is if, excuse me, you had bad facilities, or if there was something wrong with the actual cable, which, in that case, you'd have to do it anyway, based upon, not good service or, quality service. But outside of that, there would be no need to change or dig up or do any construction whatsoever.
The other thing we did need to do throughout our network, and this went on in the background, is we needed to increase our backhaul. Okay, so we're going to have all this additional data and bandwidth coming at our central offices. We have to get that back to the cloud. So we did have to do work, and we've done that over the course of the past year and a half or so, where we did up our backhaul speeds. So had we not done that, then we would have, had issues. So really, between the work that we did locally in our facilities in the local environment and the backhaul within our, backbone network, we're ready to go.
And as far as municipality franchise agreements you had asked earlier, probably the closest as far as proximity goes is Blooming Grove. But we also have agreements with the town of New Windsor, town of Goshen, the village of Chester as well. Those are probably the closest in proximity to here that we have franchise
Town of
agreements.
Chester, what should the town of Chester do?
We do not have a franchise agreement with the town of Chester as of yet. We did actually go and present, when were we there? We were just, I was there actually,
Yeah.
less than a month ago.
Yeah.
And presented there. So we asked for a vote in public hearing there. That's where we're at.
One of the things, the state has jumped in and really set how this falls into place. And the state always sets things up smoothly. That was the joke of the night, and so some of what we run into is,
I got it.
yeah, thank you.
I just said quick.
Is the process, right? It's this and the initial, hi, how am I, here's our product. It's the public hearing, it's the approval of the franchise agreement, it's the, attorneys asking for some tweaks, what it is I'm sure we've been through. So it really, the process is long. It's not, what's a little frustrating, it's not the concerns of the constituents, because it's a great product and it offers competition. Competition's good for the consumer. So it's just really, that's why it takes us a while. That's what I found.
Earlier, you mentioned about the dish and DirecTV.
Yeah.
Do you have any numbers on how many are in the village DirecTV with dish?
Actually, not.
And how would you bring them over to you?
Well, unfortunately, or fortunately for us, probably unfortunately for them, they're pretty easy to identify. You walk around and see the dish.
No, but how would
Yeah.
you bring them over to?
We'll approach them. We do a number of ways. We either do a drop, a mailing. We have done door to door. We send the local technicians out and say, visit everybody you know. Things like that. Mailings, very little, I will tell you, first of all, you won't see it on TV because our television around here is New York City. And I don't want everybody in New York City calling me asking me for Handicapped TV, because I don't offer it there, okay? So you will see it in paper ads, and just really grassroots. I mean, Frontier is a larger company now. We're 25,000 employees. We do business in 29 states, so we do have some scope and scale, but still, we're local people, and, we're not we're accessible and we're here and we're in the community. So, we do a lot of grassroots stuff, in other words.
The building on 94, that's just telecommunications.
Yes. It's not a reporting center, if that's what you're asking. Yeah, it's not a reporting center, it's just telecommunications. There's physical equipment in there that transports our HSI, or high-speed internet, I should say, DSL, and phone service.
Any questions from the audience?
I would just add, I think it was something to do with what you said, Paul, was the phone calls. If I used to call on Frontier, I had Frontier one time, and if I called Beaver Dam or Salisbury Mill, it was a toll call. Now I'm on Spectrum, you call over the world and it's nothing additional. There's no way that you have a phone that you don't get toll calls, it's all bundled, that's just because you're your infrastructure system?
I already, I'm not sure about when you go to a VoIP. I still think the Public Service Commission, because we are basically an ILEC, regulates what we can charge, an independent local exchange carrier.
So is there a difference of the way you can get the phone between landline or a VoIP line?
Voice over IP.
Oh, voice over.
Yeah, so.
Instead of saying it's a landline, you can get the other.
Correct, and so the question that's still outstanding that we don't have the answer for you yet is whether that changes because of that. But because we were, what she said, what Claudia said, an ILEC, and regulated by the Public Service Commission, it's not our infrastructure or the quality of service, it's because of the government regulations that we had to, those charges were applicable. So we will definitely make sure to get back with regards to the VoIP service. We have.
How can Spectrum do that? Because I rely on it to fax.
Mhm.
I have people in Newburgh that won't call here because if they had Frontier, it was too expensive.
Right, and there are different regulations, and that was one of the things that,
But how does
when
that,
they
how does
broke
that
up.
other company that starts with an S?
Again, because this goes back to a little bit before my time with regards to government, state, and federal regulations with regards to data companies as opposed to plain old telephone service companies, Ma Bell, and all of that. So that's where the difference comes in and where the cost gets passed on.
And antiquated regulations, we love to talk to anybody who'd like to listen about the differences about how we get regulated and others don't. And we offer the same products, because it's not a level playing field. But it's because of antiquated regulations, in my opinion.
We used to have Highland Telephone.
Yep.
Yes, that's what it was.
If I was to call him from here,
Yeah.
You would charge, yep.
They were
so
purchased
we've
by-
come a long way.
Yeah, yes.
Any other questions? I'll make a motion to continue the public hearing to allow more residents opportunity to come, probably their time of year, so it's vacation and everything.
Yeah, no, understood. And to Claudia's point, I know we've been here a few times prior.
Yeah, we never had a public hearing.
Never had a public hearing, exactly.
So we're on our way.
Yes, progress.
Before
We appreciate it.
Is that
That's the next one.
yeah. Next regular meeting would be August 21st.
So it's continued to them.
We'll continue to that.
You could get us whatever information.
Yes.
We'll get to the rates. And so the only follow-up is really the rates on if, when you.
Yeah,
And whatever, whoever else comes in.
Okay,
Whatever
perfect.
questions might come up there.
Okay,
Thank you all for your
That's
Make
time.
it at what, 7,
I'll get you a copy of my card.
Seven.
we can keep it at 7:01.
Okay, great. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What's that?
No, I already had it on the calendar. Yeah, no, I don't.
Okay, application for plan approval, solar energy site.
Joe, can I leave the cards with you accordingly?
Yes, absolutely.
Sorry, Ron. Don't worry about it. I'm listening, that's okay. No, no, I can hear
I
you.
pray enough trouble about getting you.
Want me to jump in?
Sure.
Sounds good. So just for anyone,
Hold on, hold on.
oh, I'm sorry.
We need to make a motion to open up the public hearing for application for plan approval.
Make a motion.
I'll second it.
Now you may jump.
Sounds good. Just for anyone potentially new in the audience, if you haven't heard about the solar project yet or been introduced to me, so my name is Joel Thomas. I'm a project developer at Community Energy Solar. Community Energy Solar has been in business since 1999. Spent about a decade doing wind projects, and for the last decade we've been focused on solar photovoltaic. We've developed approximately 700 megawatts of solar around the country. And we've done the account for projects like this, including some projects in the state of New York. Also with me here today is Jim Casaza. He's the landowner for the project. We have a land lease in place with Mr. Casaza to pursue the project. As everyone here is aware, the local law for solar was, I guess, adopted a couple weeks ago. And so today we're here to seek a site plan approval and look forward to receiving any comments from the village. So just a couple aspects about this project to cover in a little bit more detail than we have in the past. As I just said before, this is a 2 megawatt AC project. It's going to produce enough power for approximately 400 homes, is a good way to think about it. The project's going to consist of panels on approximately a little less than 15 acres of land. And the way that it's constructed is very, very simple construction. So it's going to be steel I-beams pile driven into the ground. Pile driver is going to be about the size of a Ford 450 truck. It's going to go through, pile the posts into the ground. There'll be about a week where you'll just see a field of posts. And then after that, there'll be what's called an A-frame installed on top of the racking, or on top of the posts. And that A-frame racking is going to consist of either steel or aluminum. And then immediately following that, the modules will be placed, bolted in to that racking. This is a fixed tilt project, so there's no moving parts. It's just going to be tilted towards the south at an angle that captures as much sun as possible. It is going to be using First Solar modules, so these are modules manufactured by an American company. And those modules have already been acquired, so excited about that. And the project is going to consist of a fence boundary around it. Per the village code, a minimum of 7 feet high, which also meets NEC code. And then the way that we're going to access this site is off of State Route 208. There's already a curb cut there, already approved access. It's been used for many years. So we'll be accessing off of Route 208 through Mr. Casaza's property into the site. As you all know, this site's very, very tucked away, which is a big part of why we selected it and why we're happy with it. There are some wetlands on site that we will be avoiding, of course, and we're working with the U.S. Army Corps as well as the DEC. Those agencies have been out to the site.
All right.
I like inspiring music for our solar project, paving the way for clean, renewable energy. Yeah, there is a floodplain and a floodway on the site. The floodway is where the waters move more rapidly, and that we have to steer clear of, which we are. The floodplain we are sitting within. We know that there are local regulations around that, which we'll be, of course, adhering to. I guess the last thing I'll say here is that the total construction timeframe, once this begins, is roughly 4 to 5 months. You know, the vast majority of the heavy work only takes about 2 months, but there's about a month of site prep, then 2 months of sort of the banging and clanging, and then after that, mostly it's electrical engineers tying the wires together and then getting orange and rockland out. But soup to nuts, again, about a 5-month process. And again, looking forward to your comments and reactions. Just a couple of things that we're seeking tonight. One is we are asking the village to declare its intent to be lead agency. We have submitted a Part 1 environmental assessment form for the project. And the way, our understanding of the way it works is the village